this is a very powerful trend that will increase significantly in power going forward. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. We are going to look at one of the zeitgeist themes, which I call clean food, similarly to how we had a transition from dirty fuel energy to clean energy. I think something very similar and with similar magnitude will happen in the food business. And I made this theme called clean food to give exposure to that. As you are probably well aware, food, especially after World War II, became very unhealthy. A massive spike in fast food, junk food and drinks of all kinds, really. It's been really bad, and there's enormous detrimental effects. We have this huge rise in diabetes, obesity. It's been an absolute disaster. Quite similar to how there's been a disaster when it comes to fossil fuels and how that impacts the ecosystem. So far, the soft drink companies and the fast food companies are not demonized like we see in the fossil fuel business, but I do think that will come. These clean food companies, they are massively outperforming the S&P 500, that's interesting. And in this video we will look at Lifeway Foods. They are in the kefir business. Pretty good gain and not that far away from 52-week highs. Let's first look at the company. Okay, so this is Lifeway Foods. Here you can see some of their products: kefir, plentiful, probugs, organic kefir, cheese, cups, and skyr. Okay, so what is kefir? Lifeway Kefir is a tart in tangy cultured milk smoothie that is high in protein, calcium, and vitamin D. Thanks to our exclusive blend of kefir cultures, each cup of kefir contains 12 live and active cultures. The list of health benefits associated with probiotics grows consistently. Here are our top 9 reasons to enjoy Lifeway Kefir. So let's just quickly look at it. So probiotics, that's of course good. Immunity. So it kickstarts the immune system. It maintains healthy weight. Skin, so kefir contains alpha hydroxy acid, a popular ingredient in skincare products. It helps digestion, contains a nice dose of protein. Lactose digestion, our unique fermentation process and specific kefir cultures ensure Lifeway Kefir is up to 99% lactose free and suitable for those who are lactose intolerant. Mood, kefir contains tryptophan, the amino acid that helps raise the levels of serotonin in the brain. Bone density, a serving of Lifeway Kefir provides 30% of your daily calcium needs. So basically, these kinds of drinks are like the opposite of a soft drink. A soft drink contains a lot of ingredients that will ruin your body. This is the opposite, and I think this will become a very powerful trend. Okay, so let's look first at the seasonality here of Lifeway Foods, and we will look at all the data we have available. So if you look way into the past, you can see here that between 1992 and 2011, August is a mediocre month, and you see actually some weakness here heading into November, generally speaking. But even though August is mediocre, you can see here that the average gain here is 2.5%, so that's not that bad. Here you can see 2001 to 2020, and you can see that August 1.7% gain. That's the average, and you can see here, the percentage of months in which it closed higher than it opened. Here again, you see that November for some reason is a bit weak, but there is usually some improvement here heading into September, October. Okay, so that's basically the seasonality. Let's now look at the charts, Lifeway Foods. So this is all the data we have here for this stock. Let's look. Okay, now I messed up my charts, so like that. Then we need to go to LWAY, like that. Zoom out, get a bunch of data. Okay, so you can see here that, long term, there's been a lot of different movements here with this stock. There was a major rise here, topping out initially before the financial crisis. Massive pullback, but the rally afterward was really massive. Okay, so if we find this low here, which was actually in November 2008. So it's very interesting that Lifeway Foods, it found a bottom way before the S&P 500. Then we had a rally of almost 300%. We recently had obviously a very massive sell-off. The loss has been quite profound. If we measure from here to this low, that's minus 92%. Okay. This is one of those risks with these kinds of very innovative and disruptive businesses, is that it takes some time for them to really get their footing. There's uncertainties, they're going up against powerful players. But if you want those huge gains, you need to get into those. You need to just bet on the future. You can see that it is erratic, but what I found very interesting is the most recent development. Okay. So here, quite clearly, the bears were massively in charge. Now there's been a major standoff here between the bulls and the bears, which has now been decided in favor of the bulls. And the recent move here, it seems minuscule, but it is actually 88% from that low. We've had a breakout above this blue 100-week moving average. Been a bit of a pullback recently, but this is a rounding bottom. It is very much a sign of a trend change. So we've gone from extremely erratic trading behavior, ferocious battle between the bulls and the bears, to now there seems to have been a reckoning. It got too low, and now the bulls are back in business. Looking long term, I am very bullish on clean energy. Any kind of food that is basically the opposite of fast food and junk food and junk drinks, it will get increased amount of support. Remember that the best time to invest in clean energy was when people had very low faith in it. That's when you can get them at an extreme bargain. So yeah, so that's kind of like the mentality that is quite smart to have. But of course, always let the trend be your friend, even if you have a position in something like Lifeway Foods. Okay, so looking at the accumulation distribution line, we do not see the bulls step up to the plate yet, even though there's a bit of a rounding bottom. I would like to see it move a bit higher with the price. So that's a sign of some weakness, even though there's a rounding bottom. RSI recently become overbought, then we have a pullback, so basically some healthy reaction here to the RSI, textbook. There's a minus 3% correlation with S&P 500, so they basically don't move together in that sense. I mean, there's a negative relationship. Let's jump into the daily data points. So here you can see, in a lot more nuance what's been happening. And this rounding bottom, it's been going on for about a year, so there's some decent history here. We are above, most of the key moving averages. It seems to be a bit of a correction at this point. But this is a nice pattern, nice indeed. Though I would like to see the accumulation distribution corroborate this recent rally though, because it just isn't at this point. But we will get into the liquidity of the stock now, because that is part of the explanation. Let's just for a good measure look at it against the S&P 500, the seasonality, okay, and then we go like that. Interestingly, it does tend slightly to outperform in August. Not that much September, but yeah. If we go here to FinWiz and we take LWAY, there are no options available. It is shortable. You can see the performance here, 62% year to date. That's pretty decent. That is beating the market. Unfortunately, we do not have a target price here for the analyst, but we can see a bit here. Okay, so the stock is currently trading at $3. Here you can see some price targets, and the price targets here for the analysts are way above the current level. So let's take this, okay, $14. So from $3.22 to $14, okay, $3.22 to $14. That's a 35% gain from the current level. That's very decent. That's a huge move. That is a a feather in the hat of the bulls. Saks.com do not have a rating for this company. A key reason is that the market cap is tiny. With a market cap of $53 million US, this is definitively a small company. It is highly speculative, for sure. But if you do want to open up the door for potential, 1,000+% gains, and stuff like that, you have to get into those, small and risky companies. I mean, you're not going to see, 1,000% gains if you are investing in Dow Jones stocks. Just not. That's the thing. Okay. Here we can see some industry rank food, dairy products, but as I said, I do have a bit of a more specific category for this company. I think the essence of Kefir, of Lifeway Kefir, is clean foods. That's the major underlying trend. Okay, so to sum up my take here on Lifeway Foods, long term, I am very bullish on clean foods. I think there will be enormous pressure against the junk food and drink businesses. This is also actually to a large extent going to be triggered by the contagion, because the contagion, it does exploit weaknesses in public health. So public health will become a major topic. And I think we will actually see something similar to what happened to the fossil fuel business. Back in the day, not too far back, being an employee in a big fossil fuel company was high status and prestige. Now it has become very much demonized. I think something very similar will happen to these junk food and drink companies. They will be viewed as dangerous, as being very bad. And there will be a major push in favor of clean foods. Obviously, Lifeway Foods, even though it has exposure to a very promising business, there is risk with these kind of very small companies. Hence, you definitively want to let the trend be your friend with this one. Yeah, let's quickly look at some other companies. Let's look at McDonald's, which is like the evil twin. Yeah. So this is a company that's been a major contributor to deteriorating public health. It just has. It is very hard for many people to imagine that McDonald's will be getting enormous amounts of public backlash right here and right now. But history shows that it is very difficult for companies to just change 360. Very difficult. Or 180 to be more specific. That is the thing. The fossil fuel companies, they knew about solar energy, they knew about the other kinds of clean energies, but very few of them actually changed in time. I think something very similar will happen to these kinds of companies, junk food and drinks. They know that there is this other trend on the horizon, but they are only going to nibble at it. And then new companies enter the scene, they grow very fast, they have a strong brand connected to clean, healthy food and drink, and then they dethrone the incumbent. That has been the trend. As far as the chart here for McDonald's goes, the bulls are in charge. You could make the case that potentially we could have a head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, head and shoulder, if we do get a bit more breakdown here. Yeah, interesting, very interesting chart. Especially in context of what we saw with Lifeway Foods. Whatever you do, of course, don't fight the trend, and may the trend be with you.